Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Kerry Reller, your host of the Get Healthy Tampa Bay podcast. Welcome back. This week, we have another fun, unique guest. This is Olivia Priest of Fitlife Foods, who I'm going to have introduce herself. So please introduce yourself, Olivia, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Kerry. I really appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Olivia Priest. I work for Fitlife Foods as their health and wellness coordinator. I have my master's in exercise science, my bachelor's in health education with a minor in nutrition, and have recently gotten my ACE health coach certification to kind of help with that relationship-driven wellness coaching that we do with Fitlife Foods.
Awesome. So I know we want to talk about a unique program that you guys offer that definitely sets you apart from maybe other meal prep companies. But can you tell us a little bit first about Fitlife Foods and how it works and what it is, how it started?
Absolutely. Yep. So Fitlife Foods started actually in South Tampa in 2012. Our founder and CEO is David Osterweil. He actually started out of the single store on Southdale Mabry and with the kitchen and everything just in that little store, and since have grown to 11 locations in Florida and 1 in Atlanta. So we offer eco-friendly home delivery meal services in over 16 states. So it makes us the second largest meal prep company in the southeastern United States. Essentially what we do is we are flavorful, well-balanced meals, perfectly portioned, contain no artificial sweeteners, flavors, colors, or preservatives. And we're really just meant to be that missing puzzle piece to fit into your busy life so that you can have the time and the energy back to do what you value most. So we're here to provide healthy meals that are flavorful and convenient for you and your busy life. With that, we also do a wellness coaching service called Project You, and that comes with the purchase of the meals. So that's really what I'm here to talk about today, is how our wellness coaching can really help guide customers and clients into a healthy lifestyle through the meals and through working with a coach.
All right. So to clarify, this is a prepared meal service, right? Not just a meal prep thing. It's not the one where you have to go home and cook it in the kitchen, right? So people will definitely want to know that information. And then the other thing that you kind of giggled about, because I think it's funny because we were just talking about this beforehand, was the difference, because you mentioned health and wellness coaching. So you told me before that there's a difference between the two, and this is an add-on service that you guys offer. So can you explain again the difference between health coaching versus wellness coaching, which is the one that you guys offer?
Yes. And I think just because we were just talking about it, my brain went back to it. So yeah, there's a very big difference between health coaching and wellness coaching. At Fitlife Foods, we focus on wellness coaching, which is an overall day in the life of you and your wellness. Since we're a meal prep company, typically we focus on nutrition and exercise, but wellness could be all sorts of facets: mental well-being, spiritual well-being, workplace well-being, financial. So the scope of wellness coaching is much more broad versus health coaching. Health coaching is more clinical, where you're an advocate for clients or for patients to doctors. So you can work with doctors and patients to kind of be that middleman to advocate what the client wants with the doctor and vice versa, translating those messages down to your client and the doctor's office. So yes, we are a wellness-based coaching service. We focus on your overall day-to-day.
Right. So me as a provider, when I'm doing like a referral, it's typically for a health coach and differentiate from the wellness coach. So I know we're going to get into that a little bit, but can you elaborate on what kind of meals that you guys offer and how they can meet the nutritional goals of your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Fitlife offers breakfast, lunch and dinners, snacks, and desserts. So we have the full range, the full menu. It's real food. It's quality sourced ingredients. They're all macro balanced and they come in one portion sizes. So we have 4 different sizes. We have small, medium, and one size, and then large. Regardless of how many calories you need, we have something that is meant to be one serving for you. Our smalls are going to range from 200 to 300 calories. Our mediums and our one sizes are going to range from 330 to 530 calories. And then our larges are going to range from 430 calories to 600 calories. So it's really meant to be a personalized meal prep service for whatever you're looking for. With that, I do want to highlight some of my favorite meals that I like to provide to my clients. So our Southwest Scramble is ground chicken with scrambled eggs, sauteed peppers, and pinto beans. We have the salsa and the cheddar cheese on the side, so you can take that off or put on as much as you want. It's a great high protein, low carb breakfast. It's also high in calcium. So that's one of my favorites that I like to push on people, just because it does have all aspects of a good, healthy breakfast to start your day. On the other side of that, we also have items like gluten-free sweet potato pancakes, churro French toast, breakfast quesadilla, the things you wouldn't traditionally think of as healthy meal prep, but they are made in a way where we've tweaked it so that they're more macro balanced, they're more nutrient dense, and you also get those little cravings out of the way. Because a lot of people come into a meal prep service thinking like they only have to eat like chicken and vegetables to be healthy. That's not our philosophy at all. We want you to enjoy your food. We focus on flavor, but we also know that you are coming in to stay on track with your health goals and save time with that. We have a lot of things on the menu that are more macro balanced and, clean. And then we have other things on the menu that are still clean, but like you're going to not think of them as traditional meal prep. So something like our buffalo chicken melt. This is going to be inspired by just those who doesn't love buffalo wings, right? So it's all natural chicken breast, dry rubbed, low sodium buffalo spice. And then we have that cilantro lime rice with roasted veggies and then a yogurt based buffalo ranch. So that comes in 3 different sizes. Our medium is going to be 420 calories with 32 grams of protein and 13 grams of fat. So it's a just great way to get those little meals in without having to go to a restaurant and expend hundreds and thousands of calories and sodium and those things that are not ideal for someone who's looking to stay in a healthy, balanced diet.
Right. You're getting all the fun flavors, but without the extra calories that aren't really necessary.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Are you able to pick your macro ranges?
We base all of our macro ranges off of either a 50% carb, 30% protein, 20% fat ratio, or a 40% carb, 30% protein, and 30% fat ratio. So those are the 2 profiles we try to stick around.
Okay.
Of course, our meals are going to range. So that's why working with a coach to set up a weekly meal schedule, they know the best pairings for what you're trying to do. With our, it's called Project U Wellness Coaching. And like I said, it's a free service with the purchase of the meals. So you get to work one-on-one with a coach as often as you want, and they can set you up with those weekly meal schedules that really help you get to your goal. And of course, they're going to be the experts in which ones to pair with which. And if you have certain parameters that you're looking at, sodium, fiber, different micronutrients, and then the macros and calories are the main ones that people use coaches for.
So were they created by chefs and dietitians, or?
We do have our chef that works on those recipes, and then we consult a registered dietitian as well.
Perfect. Okay. So tell us more, like when you say that you offer these health coaching opportunities in Project U, you said you can do it as many times as you want. How does that work? What's the process? They schedule a visit, and what do you guys do?
The initial session, you're going to sit down with your coach. You can go into any store and set up an appointment, or you can book it online as well. It is a service that's only offered in store. So we don't do virtual coaching yet, but it's something you go into store for, you sit down, you talk with a coach. They're basically going to get a day in the life of you. They're going to get to know you, what your habits are, what your goal is, and they're going to ask you some day-to-day questions about your eating habits, your exercise, your sleep, and your stress. So we just really want to get a good picture of where you're at and where you're trying to go. With that, then we do a body composition scan with our bioimpedance analysis machine that gives us your hydration status, your lean tissue, fat mass, and your basal metabolic rate. So that basal metabolic rate is really what we're looking at to kind of help provide you the guidance for the range of calories and macros that you should be eating to reach your goal. So someone with a basal metabolic rate of 2,500 calories who's looking to lose weight, is going to have a very different dietary pattern than someone who has a basal metabolic rate of 1100 calories and is looking to gain weight. So that's kind of where we can really tailor those meal schedules and that one-on-one support to help you reach whatever goal you're trying to make.
Do you know what machine you use? Which one? I'm just curious because we talk a lot about body composition around here.
We use a company, it's called Biodynamics. I think they've gone out of business, but it's the BIA 450.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's
I don't know that one.
what you're looking for. I can send you the information if you're looking for it.
Okay. Yeah, we just got an InBody in our office and we're pretty excited about it too. Body composition is clearly important, and some of those things that we focus on and look at, obviously, when someone's trying to lose weight, is fat mass and muscle mass, and making sure you're not losing muscle mass. And then you mentioned that they can calculate this basal metabolic rate. Well, it's not a perfect test, but it is something, and it's really helpful to go by that test. So you get that number, and then you do a deficit of calorie reduction if they're trying to lose weight, and then kind of tell them what meal plan to use.
Yeah. And it really depends because it's never that simple, right? Like someone who comes in looking to lose weight, and a majority of our clients do come in to Fitlife to help them with weight loss or weight management. And that's where that initial consult is so important, because let's say we do your body composition scan and your basal metabolic rate is 1500 calories, but you're eating twice a day and maybe you're hitting 800 calories. And this is very common for people who are busy or who just have gotten out of the habit of eating. Slowly your body adapts to that. So it really just depends on your situation, on the amount of calories that we're going to recommend that you eat. It's never just one simple cut and dry, like, here's your 1500 calories, go eat this and you're going to see success. There's always going to be barriers. There's always going to be little tweaks that we can make along the way to help make sure that your body's happy. So yeah, it all kind of, I don't know, that was a long-winded answer, but it all kind of depends on the person and what they're currently doing. So that's where we really take a look at your goals, where you're trying to get to, but then also take small steps to help you get there with your eating pattern. So it's mostly focused, you should be focused on like healthy, sustainable habits versus counting calories, but everyone finds their own way a little bit differently. So I think once you've gone through that calorie counting phase, then you kind of start to see the benefits of focusing on habits over numbers. Those numbers really help people have that set, okay, here's my number, this is kind of what I'm trying to do, but we really want to focus on the mindfulness behind it and the habit building along with the numbers. So
let's get into habits. How do you guys help them improve their habits or make new habits?
Yes. So one step at a time. That's really, it sounds so simple, but it's so hard to kind of wrap your mind around. So we set SMART goals with you in your initial session: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound goals. A lot of people come in with these grand goals. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to gain 20 pounds of muscle. I want to quit eating all the sugar. Those are great long-term goals. But what we really like to do in those sessions is break that down and say, okay, what can you do consistently on a day-to-day basis? And how can we make it hard enough for that you feel successful when you reach that goal, but you're still going to have to work towards it, but you're going to find some traction along the way. So focusing on those small steps, and it really starts with you. So our coaches are trained to kind of have those client-centered conversations. Where do you want to start? Where do you feel most motivated? Like, what are you looking to do first? And then kind of go from there and guide from there. I really like the way that you said that you try to make it difficult so they feel rewarded when they achieve a goal. I think that's important. Sometimes if you make them too easy, then it's, okay, yeah, I did that. I can do this all day. But that's a really good point there. What else were you going to say? I was just going to give an example. So yeah, we definitely don't want the goals to be too easy, because that's not fulfilling at all. So, I'm working with a client right now, and her goal is to drink her 64-ounce jug of water a day. And she's like, Olivia, I'm so close. I'm right there. I can't quite get it. She's dealing with all these barriers. My work restricts water and food in certain places, and that's where I spend most of my time. So we've talked through just different small things that she can do to keep water on her mind when she's not in those restricted areas. So just switching her water bottle from something that's solid to something that's more translucent, so she can see like, oh, I haven't drank any water today, reminder, so it's just little things like that all add up. So we really like to work on 1 or 2 goals at a time, and this could take 6 months to a year to achieve. So it's not something that we're going to give you this meal schedule and you're going to go change your life and you're going to start walking and you're going to start exercising and you're counting your calories at the same time. No, like, let's look at what you're doing now and what's one thing in your day that you can change and do really consistently for the next 6 months. That'll help kind of build that momentum. So that's where most clients start, is either a water goal, a walking goal, and we try to keep it so it's called process goals, very action driven and not numbers driven. So yes, you can set a weight loss goal that's 2 pounds a week. But what are you going to do to get to that 2 pounds a week? How is that going to fit into your day and your daily decisions? So that's really what our coaches are there to talk with clients about, along with setting them up on those meal plans to get them the right amount of calories and balance in their food.
And you mentioned you can see people as much as they want. What is the average amount of time frame that you see them?
Most people who are very goal oriented are going to come in. They're going to see their coach weekly when they pick up their meals. But a lot of people like to do bi-weekly sessions where they're sitting down, really talking about the barriers with their coach and working through some, pros and cons of the last 2 weeks, because we want to give them time to kind of get into their schedule and get a cadence down and kind of be mindful of what they're really trying to work on and then come back with some feedback. So that's most common, I would say, is bi-weekly. Some people like to do monthly, where they'll just come in, check their body composition, talk with their coach, and then be on their way. So there's lots of different levels. And that's what's so great about it, is it's flexible to you and your schedule. You're not locked into a coaching contract. You're not required to come in every single week and talk to your coach. It's really what you make of it.
And what about longevity? Have you seen people for like 6-12 months or?
I'm the wellness coordinator now, so I'm no longer coaching full time. But when I was a coach, I had 2 or 3 clients that came in, one for 2 years, one for 1.5 years, and the other one for just over a year. They saw, of course, the most success. And it wasn't like a straight line, like, okay, I met my goal. Here's my results. No, it was a lot of ups and downs. Sometimes they'd fall off for a month and then come back stronger. And like vacations, life, car breaking down, that stuff gets in the way, of course. But just knowing that they can always come back and knowing that they always have that person who is invested in them and their goals and can be that support was really what kept them in the food. Of course.
Yeah, it's super important to be able to come back to someone that you trust. So do you also try to keep the same coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Normally you set like whatever store you are coming to pick up your food from, that's your coach.
Got it. Okay. How long has Project You been around?
Since the beginning, since 2000.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow. Yeah, that is amazing. That's really good. Like for me, I had no idea it existed. So I think it's super important to be doing things like this to let other people know. But I think that really helps set it apart from the different meal prep companies. So do you have any client success stories or testimonials that you want to share?
Yeah. So I have 2 that are just really close to my heart. These are my tried and true clients that I had in the stores. One, he came into me he wouldn't even step on the scale because he said, I'm over the limit, not going to be able to weigh in. And through 2 years and he was more consistent, like 2 years of weekly sessions, of course, intermittently sometimes, but he dropped 109 pounds, 11% body fat, and was taken off his blood pressure medication. And that wasn't even really what we were focusing on. He came in and he said, Olivia, I don't cook. I never will cook. And it's never going to be a thing I'm going to do. I said, that's totally fine. Let's start with what you do want to do, So his first goal was starting to walk. So at first it was down the block to his mailbox, down and back a few times a day. And he worked his way up to 5 to 7 miles. So he would do that 2 to 4 times a week, got really consistent at it. He'd send me the selfies of him after what he saw on his walk. He'd have a little food diary that he hand wrote because he wasn't really into the calorie counting apps, which is totally fine, however you want to do it. But really what we worked on in our sessions was the mindset around having one portion versus 2 to 3. Because what he had found over the years was that he had this thought that like, oh, if I just get one, I'm not going to be full. And that was a really, really hard mindset shift to kind of work through. That took us months, like, all right, how are you feeling about your portion sizes? How can we be mindful about what you're intaking? And how can you really taste the food, see the food, what's it called? Texture.
Intuitive eating.
Yes, intuitive eating.
Mm-hmm.
And then just telling yourself it's okay to have another snack 20, 30 minutes later if you're really hungry. So like assessing your hunger cues. Are you bored? Are you emotionally eating? Are you actually hungry? So like, what are the cues for that? So we talked a lot about that. But yeah, he was one of the more just tried and true, like came in guns a-blazing. He always had questions on ingredients of like, can I eat this? Can I eat that? Like, what's good for this? Of course, he had his Fitlife meals, but that's the other thing is we're not meant to be like, eat us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. Like we really are a supplemental tool. So we're not a diet. We don't only recommend Fitlife Foods because we want you to have a lot of variety and balance in your day. So that's where you can really work with a coach to be like, okay, what am I getting for my breakfast and dinner from you? And how can I structure my lunch and my snacks to best fit a healthy dietary pattern?
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Basically, are people getting all 3 meals, or do they cook some or make room for going out and, participating in society and culture and everything? Because you got to do that, right? Or it's not really as sustainable as one would think. So yeah, that's good. I understand that philosophy for sure. Right. And one thing I love is I have plenty of patients that don't want to cook and are interested in like meal replacements. And I'm not really a meal replacement kind of doctor. I think they should be eating real food. And that's why I really like all the companies like yours and try to give them a list and refer patients to your type of company. So this is really important for sure, to be eating real food. And like you said, appreciating the taste, texture, color, because we're meant to be enjoying food, right? Food is supposed to be pleasurable. So it's much better to be enjoying a modified version of some barbecue sandwich, right, than the unhealthier portion that you might get somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you had another client that you wanted to talk about, right?
Yes. So she was very close in age with me. So it was very like, we hit it off right away. We had very similar experiences, but we had that connection right off the bat. And I have my own personal health and wellness journey that I went through where she was telling me some things and I was like, oh, that was me 2 years ago. Like, let me help you. But she came in just absolutely hating her body, hating her life, exercise because she knew she had to burn the calories and beat herself up for everything she put in her body. And just all around had this mindset of like, this is good food and this is bad food. And I can't have this and I can't have this. And was just on a very strict diet mentality, which is very detrimental. So we worked a lot on the numbers when she first came in. She was followed every single direction. She wanted the most accurate numbers. She was very hard on herself when her numbers weren't lower than they were before. So we worked a lot on expectations. So what does it take to lose 1% body fat? That takes a month or two of just really solid, structured macros, being in a calorie deficit, getting the right amount of steps in, the right amount of exercise. And so our sessions at the beginning, we talked a lot about those approaches on how you lose body fat and how many calories you should be intaking. And this is why protein is important. Slowly, 8 months, 10 months into it, we really started talking. Well, we talked about it the whole time, but it took 8 to 10 months to really realize like your relationship with food is really what's going to drive those decisions. And how do you become a happier person around food without beating yourself up? And so that's really like 8 to 10 months it kind of took until she realized, oh, like if I just kind of relax and enjoy everything, I don't have to worry about every single calorie because I know I'm doing what's best for my body in the long run. And so that's really when we saw that aha moment of I can enjoy everything I want. It's just going to be how else am I going to structure my day to make it align with my long-term goals. So she went from, I will say in that year and a half that I worked with her, just from workaholic to yogi. So it was like really cool to see the mindset change along with, let's see, the 50 pounds and the 7% drop in fat mass,
Wow.
that's just the numbers, but like, what are you doing to improve your life around that? And that's where the habits come in. So it's very rewarding.
It sounds like she might have had what we call avoidant restrictive, not, or maybe on the lines of it, because it is an eating disorder where people have that mentality of, yeah, you ate this, I don't know, let's just say a popsicle or something, you have to go run it off. And that's a terrible way to be living and thinking about food and basically a movement of your body too. So I think kind of getting them out of that problematic mindset is really, really important. And I'm sure the quality of life definitely improved there, not just with the weight, but with everything really. So that's a wonderful story. I like that one. You mentioned obviously that you're doing body composition analysis and recommending exercise and stuff like that. How much do you focus on strength training?
So it's going to depend on, of course, the person and what they're looking to do. Weight management and body composition is always going to be focused on lifting weights. So yeah, like we don't talk specifically on how to strength train, but we do talk about the importance of strength training, because the way to manage your body composition is to strength train. Cardio is important. Of course, you're going to get all those benefits to your lungs and your heart and your blood and life in general, but strengthening your bones, strengthening your muscles, that's what's really going to put the more sustainable way. So once you reach a certain body composition, it's going to be much easier to maintain through weightlifting than just counting your calories and running to keep the calories down. If that makes sense.
That's perfect. Totally agree with that. We definitely want to encourage increased muscle mass because that gives you a higher basal metabolic rate. So you can eat and maintain your weight at the same, I guess, same way, versus if you really are focusing only on cardio, that doesn't it still builds muscle, but it's not quite the same. So really focusing on that helps get that fat mass down and keep the muscle mass up, and not just improve weight, but improve the loss of visceral fat, usually where is all the metabolic problems. If we're talking about some of the medical problem, it's usually related to visceral fat, which is a fat around the organs and everything like that. So yeah, body composition is important. Strength training is super important, like you said. Yeah.
I
like that.
After hearing you say that, so we do talk a lot of people come in and say they want to tone up. Oh, I want to tone. I just want to drop a few pounds and gain some muscle. So that's when we really do have those more in-depth conversations around, all right, this is what it looks like to be on a weight loss path. And this is what it looks like to be on a toning up path. You're still doing the same things, but one is focused on body composition. The other one's just focused on calories. So we do have that conversation with a lot of people who want to come in and talk about toning. If you want to look like you have more muscle, that training and how you do that is going to be really important, like the personal training aspect of it and like how you're working out.
Yeah, I think as we learn more about weight and everything, and maybe body composition becomes more mainstream, I think people may be more focusing on that fat mass loss than the weight loss overall. And, a lot of the home scales offer bioelectrical impedance analysis, and the ones that I use in our weight management program do as well. Now, they're not as accurate as like the InBody that we have in the office, but it is really helpful to see that pattern and make sure that they're not losing a bunch of lean mass when they're on their weight loss journey. So it's really important. I know we talked about a lot of weight loss and weight management. Is there any other people that come in the door that you can think of some stories that might be relevant to someone with some other kind of thing that they would need help for with wellness coaching?
Yeah. So a lot of people come in, I won't say a lot. There are people who come in looking for meals for their parents. Like, hey, my mom's having trouble cooking. I just need her to remember to eat. Can we get something that's easy and just like healthy, low sodium to put in her fridge so that she can just be on her own? So that one's more common. Like, hey, I'm looking for a family member or a friend that needs help either remembering to eat or just needs help in the kitchen in general. Like they can't cook, or they are coming off of a surgery, or they just need some easy meals in the fridge. That's fairly common. Pre-diabetes and diabetes is a huge one. People are coming in looking for low glycemic index meals and just the support around that. They come in usually from a doctor and they say, I just been told I'm pre-diabetic, or I have diabetes now and I have to do all these things to change my life and what I'm eating. And, they're not typically told how to go do that. They're just saying, you need to go lose this weight. And then being sent off. So there's a lot of people that come in looking for guidance on how to live a diabetes-free life,
Yeah. Well, it's nice that you guys offer this resource, because I certainly don't do that with my patients, but I'm going to help them figure that out. But I think that's really nice that you do offer that resource. I had never considered like an older person or the post-surgery thing of helping them get nutrition. Like I can think of one particular patient who gets, I think she follows like Jenny Craig or something, though I heard they just went out of business, and gets Meals on Wheels, right? So I know those are probably a little bit more financially favorable, but they're definitely not as nutritious or healthy and well-balanced meals. So if someone has support from a child or has, wherever their income is coming from, I think it is a really good tool that you just mentioned, that you can offer these kind of services rather than just, hey, here's your high processed salt laden food from some packaged facility. I think that's a really good point that I hadn't even thought of before. I will definitely start thinking of that one for patients as well. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Is there anything else you want to share, or anything we missed that you want to talk about with Fitlife Foods or Project U?
I think we covered a lot. I just think, thinking back to my own personal, like how I got into health and wellness, like I really struggled with the mindset around counting calories, and I just wanted to get to my goal the fastest way possible. And I knew that if I ate less and exercised more, I would get to my goal. And of course, that's not true. And I just really think that if more people who are like, we're here to help support you, and we're here to give you the information that it's all floating out there in the internet, but we're here to help bring that around to really what you're looking to do and try to help filter out some of that stuff you see that's just not helpful. And a lot of our coaches have those personal journeys as well, so they can really relate. They're here, they're in your corner, they want to help you, and it's a personalized program just for you. And it's a free service. So you're buying the meals, you're coming in, you're talking with your coach. It is what you make of it. So it's just a really good, I think, resource to have in your corner. Come in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's super enlightening to know it even exists. So I think it's really important to have that support on their journey. And I am happy that you guys offer that. And now I know about it and I can tell people about it. And I think that's kind of the point of bringing you on here today, to share everything. So I thank you so much for coming on. And what's the process? How can they find you? I mean, obviously you guys' website, but.
Yeah. So we have our website at eatfitlifefoods.com. You can go in and book a session with a wellness coach right on the website, or we have an app as well. So you can get all the updates for your local store. Our chef does tours to our stores, so he'll come in and do cooking demonstrations, and you get all our blog posts right there in the app. You get all the discounts and stuff that we're not pushing out to the in-store customers. That perk is in the app. So of course the app is the way to go. But yeah, you can also go online and see all of our menu, home delivery service, Project U, wellness coaching, testimonials, like all that stuff. So that's the easiest way to get in touch with a coach, is go online and book a session.
Awesome. So you told me the breakfast favorite meal. What's your overall favorite meal?
Ooh, that's such a good one. I really like the pulled pork carnitas. One of my favorites, just simple pulled pork, cilantro lime rice, salsa, zucchini, squash. Super good.
Sounds
That's
awesome.
one of my go-tos. What else do I like? They're all so good. I go in waves. Certain meals I like only eat those for certain months, and then I'll like switch to another meal.
Do they change up the menu, or is it always available?
Yep, we launch a new meal every month, and we change our menu seasonally. So 4 times a year we'll do like a mass remove 5 items, put 5 new items on, and then we'll always switch out a meal or 2 monthly. So you're constantly getting the variety. And we take customer feedback very seriously. So if you have like suggestions for meals or ways to improve meals or things you want to see on the menu, our chef looks at that every month. So we're constantly innovating our menu based on our customer feedback.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Olivia. Everybody, please tune in next week for our next episode. And thanks for listening.